So, I beat Star Fox. I always like to give some background information on where I even come from with this series, but yeah, I played every single game in the franchise, and I mean every single game, and I played them multiple times, and Star Fox 64 is obviously no exception. This has always been my favorite game in the franchise, followed by Star Fox Assault, and also Star Fox Zero was always up there. I really like that game, but Star Fox 64 was just unmatched, man. This game I grew up with since I was younger, and I played it on so many different emulators, even its real hardware on the 64. I played the 3DS version 100% at that, so obviously when this was announced, I was feeling both kind of nostalgic for it again, but also I'm tired of it. Yeah, I played it so much. So this is coming from someone who is well ventured in the Star Fox and Star Fox 64 lore. I've been in them Lilat Wars, I guess I can say. But yeah, how does this game compare to those? I've rolled the credits, visited every single planet, but I've not got my full 100% yet. I need to get the medals for the expert difficulty, and I've not really touched any of the challenges for all of the stages yet. So I pretty much just played the main game and played all the stages and visited all the routes. Well, what's my opinion on this game? Is this just the same game for the 100th time that really didn't leave a lasting impression, or was it something a lot more and very special and near and dear to my nostalgic-filled heart? Well, I can tell you a little bit of both. I actually found myself having a pretty decent time with this game, and I'd say more than decent. It was fun. My playthrough was pretty fun. I'd say the one thing that really stands out to me the most is this game's presentation. It is so done up. Everything about this game is the perfect upgrade that you could have wished for. If someone would have came up to me and told me before this game was even announced that, hey, we're gonna get a Star Fox remake, it's gonna be exactly the same game, but get ready, your mind's gonna be blown, it's gonna look fantastic. The presentation is gonna be through the roof. I couldn't have pictured a better looking game than what we got. The graphics are phenomenal. The scenes and set pieces are phenomenal. There's so many little details, from flying above the water or knocking away space debris as you're smacking into it in your R-Wing in space. It's so good. The colors and the atmosphere of some of these locations, even when you're just in one of the normal space levels, there's so much detail. It is beautiful, man. Seriously. Not only that, but the added cutscenes. I know I've seen some reviews of people say they don't really add much. It kind of feels like unnecessary. I don't think so. I think it's fun seeing them kind of chit-chat together, and it kind of builds the story and actually gives it a story this time around instead of just jumping from planet to planet. It actually gives reasons as to why we're going to each planet, and just hearing the characters talk more, I love it. I have no problem with it, even though you spend 99.4% of those cutscenes within the Great Fox, which is kind of weird. But still, I mean, where else are they going to go? It makes sense. But still, yeah, I really like the cutscenes. No, they don't add anything crazy new or anything like that, but they do add some really cool expositions for the planets and stuff. The graphics are through the roof. The music, the brand new orchestrated soundtrack. I told you, this presentation is top notch. There's even some stages where I genuinely did not even remember that stage looking like that. I was like, wait, what stage is this? Like, Sector X was freaking mind-blowing to me. It was so crazy. I had to literally go back and watch my old footage of what it used to look like, and it is so different. It used to just kind of be empty space with like floating debris and, you know, big torn up pieces of metal and scrap ship flying through the space atmosphere and stuff. And they completely changed this thing. I mean, it almost looks like you're flying into like a Death Star enemy base or something. It was crazy. And that's just the takeaway that I genuinely can't get away from. This game has some of the best presentation I've seen in a long time from a remake. Like, it is definitely done up. But the problem is, even though the presentation is done up, the game is ideally, and I mean pretty much, exactly a one-to-one recreation of Star Fox 64 that we once known and loved. Every enemy placement, every single piece of debris that's flying at you is the exact same it once was so many years ago. And this is where you're going to probably start to see a divide for a lot of people. For veterans that's played this game so many times, this is going to be a really cool moment when you first see these stages again. But I feel like after one or two plays of each mission, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've done this before. Especially when you're grinding for those medals, you're going to be like, yeah, I've used these same exact methods and done the exact same things to get these medals before, so it feels like you're just doing it again, but this time with a new pair of glasses that makes the game look insane. That's my issue, and I understand that this is trying to be faithful to the original all the way, but the problem is when you already had a remake on the 3DS and you've already retold this Lilat War story like 5 times, people want a little bit more. And I feel like with some of these stages, they definitely could have went the extra mile. I'll give you some examples. I think one thing they could have done was just add some more alternate routes with some more hidden objectives that give you other types of missions for different planets. You know how you have like Venom 1, Venom 2, and alternate paths that give you different distinct levels for Corneria. They could have gave you like Fachina 1 and Fachina 2 and stuff. For instance, Fachina is still a super quick and kind of boring mission. You're just in all range mode, flying around, shooting enemy ships until the Wolf Gang pulls up and you take them out, and that's pretty much about it. I would have loved to see a new mission that's an on-rails mission through Fachina, or they could have just added an on-rails section before you get to this final area, and then it goes to all range like it does in stages like Corneria. I know this one's going to sound silly, and maybe this is just a Star Fox Assault fan inside of me, but what they could have done was maybe even added a couple of ground missions. Like there's a whole section where Fox flies down in order to run into the building to defuse a bomb in Fachina, and it even shows him jump out of the cockpit and run into the building. I'm like, okay, wouldn't it be cool if it just like cut to a scene of him inside the building now and we got to play a ground mission? Please? Nope, of course, that'd be adding too much. Another example is Bols, which is just this big satellite that you fly around in circles. And even from the original game, I thought this was one of the worst stages without a doubt. And it's still completely exactly the same, absolutely untouched. They could have added an on-rails section or something to lengthen this out or change this up a bit and actually maybe even make it a bit more difficult. I know it's part of the easy route, but still, this is just way too easy, way too boring, and it just, I don't know, this mission just never really sat right with me, so I can't believe this was left completely unchanged. There's definitely others I can nitpick as well, like Venom 2 also just being another all-range, just straight-up fight with Star Wolf's team. This would have been a great ending to an alternate on-rails section that was a little bit different from Venom 1, but nope. I also felt like this game could have used some sort of upgrade with its dogfights. They're not bad at all, but it does suffer from that classic, someone's behind you, you do a loop, and then you get behind them and shoot them, and then they do a loop, and then you do a loop. It just loops, and everybody's looping around, and it just like, yeah, it gets boring very quick. And this is something I feel like could have been fixed in a future installment, but like I would have loved to see it here since this is a full remake, maybe adding some new, movement tech and stuff in free range or all range mode, where you can maybe like do like an air drift and spin around real quick or something. But yeah, just doing the same loops and U-turns over and over and over again definitely gets boring. Something else this game does to be way too similar to the original is makes the boss battles still super duper easy. I still think there's only around 2 or 3 bosses in this entire game that genuinely put up a fight and is kind of interesting to fight. The rest are literally open the hatch, giant weak point, blast out of the sky, and you're done. I've seen some complaints online that people couldn't really find the weak points and it wasn't as obvious in this, but I'm like, how? I still think they are. You can still see giant glowing yellow lights and stuff when they open hatches or have a certain part of their ship that they're shooting out of. It's very obvious, at least to me. Maybe it's just because I played the game so many times, but yeah, no, the bosses are exactly the same amount of health, the same amount of damage output, the same exact attacks. So if you remember before, it's the exact same thing here. A big complaint that I've seen online has been the voice acting and the voice direction doesn't sound all that great. I have no complaints here. I had some worries at first, especially with some characterization of certain characters. It's done so well here. I love this gang. I love this crew. I love the voice acting. I love all the characters in this game. They sound really good in the moments. I have no issues. There's some strange dialogue changes. Like there's a couple of iconic things that Falco doesn't say. Like I can't remember for sure if Falco says I prefer the air in Star Fox 64. That might have been a Smash Bros thing. But like it's so iconic when I hear it. He says in this game something like, I prefer to be in the sky or something. I'm just like, ew. You know what I mean? Like, it may not have been in the original. I can't remember 100%. But another thing is Wolf does not say, you're good, but I'm better. At least I didn't really hear it.
You're good, but it ends here.
Like, it's 100% a nitpick, I know, but man, it just sounds off of him not saying that anymore. Sorry to Jet, but I'm in a hurry.
Sorry to Jet, but we've got places to be.
Once again, it's minor changes, but man, some of those iconic lines I remember as a child, I just like, they hit so hard and they changed them, adding more words, and it just, I don't know. But for the most part, yes, I love the voice acting. There are some scenes that genuinely had me chuckling, and a couple scenes that made me say, ooh, I like this. Like, I've seen some complaints that in this game, Fox is a little different, where he's more just egotistical. He's almost like Falco to an extent, and it's almost like he doesn't care about his team at first. And I was kind of feeling that from the first couple of missions, but man, does he open up in some of the later missions and really show how he's truly a leader. Like this scene where he kind of rips General Pepper apart because Pepper is just like, hey, you lost Slippy when he gets swatted down to Titania. Pepper's trying to get him to move on and get back to the mission, and Fox is not having it.
And it's never easy to lose a comrade.
With all due respect, General, you can chew on your condolences. We are a team, and that means no one gets left behind.
You tell him, Fox. If anyone knows how to bring a damaged R-Wing down safely, it's Slippy.
And he's got enough junk food in his cockpit to last him for days.
Look, General, you hired us to do a job, and we will do it. But we'll do it with Slippy at our side.
I love that scene. Fox is still Fox. He wants his money and his pay at the end of the day. But yes, he's a great leader. Falco even comes around and talks about how he's a great leader. Slippy's a great character in this game, and Peppy is pretty much ideally exactly the same that we remember him in the past games. So yeah, I have no problem with the crew. I will say Falco doesn't feel as cool in this game. He's just kind of a laid back, hothead, if anything. He's very much sarcastic and gets smart with everybody, just angry all the time. But he doesn't give me that cool feeling that he used to, at least. I don't know. And unfortunately, with the game being so short, the characters don't really have a whole lot of time to go through like proper arcs. Like, for instance, Falco in literally the beginning of the game tells Peppy how we don't really have a leader for some reason. I'm like, you do, it's Fox. I don't even really understand that. Maybe Fox isn't like a traditional leader at that point. But then literally like 2 missions later, Falco's like, you're definitely the leader that we need right now or something. I'm like, well, that changed in a matter of seconds. I also really wish they gave Rob64 some more screen time. I like his new voice. It gives him some personality, and he even has some in like a couple dialogue exchanges at the very end of the game that I love, dude.
Supplies deployed. Show them who is boss.
Falco's a bad influence on you, Rob.
But yeah, the voice direction, the cutscenes, I think they're dang near perfect.
Is that Bill? Hi, Bill!
And I would say spoilers for the end of the game, but this is dang near a 30-year-old game, so, I mean, if you don't want to watch it, go ahead, tune out, I guess. But yes, the Venom and whole Andross finale was done so well. I love his new look for his temple, and the gorilla soldiers are still there and stuff, and chasing down the giant robo-gorilla in the tunnel. It's like even darker than ever now. This one's almost hard to actually see the boss. This one I can understand complaints, but I liked it. I really like how deep and dark they did the lighting here. It's really creepy. And then we have the Andross battles. You actually battle him in like this giant laboratory machine-like thing now, which I could see some people saying it kind of loses that creepy essence of the original, but I like it because it is Professor Andross, whatever they call him, and he's a scientist, and it makes sense because he's developed himself into a giant brain that's encased in a big robot version of himself. So like, yeah, he should be fought in a giant robotic lab. And I was wondering how they were actually going to do this, because I knew they wasn't going to just do floating eyeballs and a regular brain again, because that would have been too realistic, and I know Nintendo doesn't do that stuff. But yeah, I like the direction they went. It's more robotic eyes and his brain encased in a giant metal cage. In a way, they like turned him into MODOK from Marvel, and you can easily see what the weak point of the back of his brain is now compared to the original game, which for newcomers, it could take you a little bit to understand where you're supposed to shoot him. And goodness gracious, that ending with that theme song that plays, oh, the nostalgia got me, man. I had goosebumps all over my body, and I dang near almost teared up, man. Everything. And I mean everything about that scene, 10 out of 10, no complaints. you crushed it, Nintendo. But the question is, now what? I know there's still an online mode that I haven't even tried yet. I've heard good things, and I've even heard about, you know, there being lots of challenges and then trying to get gold medals and all the different difficulties, which I just need to do expert now. But what happens after that? Do I see myself really coming back, and do I even really feel like going through all the stages again in expert just to get gold medals? I don't know. A lot of people will tell you this game is short because you can replay it, and you'll replaying all the stages multiple times. That's what I've heard a million times, and of course, as someone who's played the originals, I know that's what you're supposed to do. But still, I keep finding myself saying, as someone who played the originals, I don't really have that desire to go back and play these stages over and over and over and over again. Maybe if this is your first time playing Star Fox 64, then yeah, sure. But as a veteran, I don't really have that interest to go back to these stages. That big, you know, shock value of seeing them for the first time in this brand new remake was great, maybe twice, but around 3 or 4 times, I'm like, okay, I've seen enough. And that's where you start to run into an issue, where it's just so daggone similar to the original and so short as well. I also wish they threw us a little bone or something new at the end, like a bonus stage, something that maybe we could play some missions with James McCloud and stuff before he died to see what happened. But no, it's just you get one like prologue scene of James McCloud and what Pigma did to him, and that's it. I mean, it doesn't really even add like a post cutscene. I could see them adding like some scene maybe leading to the next game, finally, the true follow-up to Star Fox 64, but I guess that's just going to be Assault and Command for now, or Assault and Adventures at least. I thoroughly loved playing Star Fox again. This game's presentation is absolutely through the roof. However, this game could have strayed from its original path at least a little bit, which does ultimately give me some worries for the Ocarina of Time remake. But that is for the next video.